please give a warm welcome to actress Usha Seamkhum and writer-director Boonnitipat. And interpreter Palin. Welcome. Pat, I want to ask from the start a technical question. I admire how you shot the film in widescreen, and there's also a depth of field in the film that I'm constantly able to see the foreground, the midground, and the background. Can you tell us why did you approach the film in that direction?
Me and the cinematographer, we were talking a lot about how should we visualize this film, and she suggests that because I started with the intention that I want to do wide shot so that people could see multiple characters in the frame all at once, and they could somehow resonate with each character that they want they can see the character they want to see, and they can see the chemistry better that way. And also the setting, we have a beautiful house, very detailed in decoration, so we want the audience to see everything. So she suggests that maybe we should use the depth of field that is you can see everything. So that become like a cinematic style of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want to explain to the audience that normally we're used to being manipulated where to see. Instead, you allow us to choose where to look. I want to follow up with the importance of that aspect. Why was it important for you, for the audience, to choose which path to take?
Because before this is my first feature film, and I used to work for few TV series. And the thing about the TV series that I directed is that it's all about controlling the audience emotion. Like here you have to laugh, here you have to cry, here the music would come on. And at a certain point when you screen it, when I screen it, the audience seems to enjoy it. But when the time passed for like 1 or 2 months, you could feel that the depth of the feeling that they got, or even my own feeling, I think is not really impactful because the control is too much. So while making this film, and it's also about the story of an everyday life, I try my best not to direct the audience too much, but I try my best to provide enough layers of information and the relationship and the information that they need in order for them to interpret this movie as they wish. Because the core of this movie it's not about the story itself, but it's about the audience seeing it and reflecting about their own stories. Mm-hmm. So that's the direction that we took.
Mm-hmm. And one quick follow-up question about your choices is that music, you use music very sporadically. You don't use it to build emotions on us. You know, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Okay. Why your choice of sporadic music?
When I was writing the script, there's a certain kind of music that I always like to listen to, and it's a kind of this very gentle piano, which usually played in a. It's not a grand piano. it's like a smaller scale piano, and you can see and you can hear how the artist recorded it. You can hear the sound of the pedal, or even the sound of the wood, the piano itself creaking. So I really love that. Even sometimes you can hear the voice of the birds in the background when the artist recorded. So I really like that feeling of music. So we try to put that kind of music into the movie. And very luckily, we got the composer, Kun Jai Tep. He's really good with piano. And the way we recorded it is that there are wooden piano, like a wooden piano in a studio, which is not in, I mean, in the movie studio, not in the recording studio. It was this very piano was bought from a movie they did long time ago, and it was set in the working room of the producer. And when we record it, we just bring our recorder and then record it right in the working room. And we planned that it would took 3 days, but it became a delay, and it took like 3.5 days. And we finished our record like almost in the morning. But in our studio, there'll be this big giant trees where the birds will gather in the early morning. And so from the sound of piano, when you hear it, if you listen carefully, you see the sound of bird coming into our recorder. So that somehow gives the same emotion that the impression that I got while writing the script.
That's great. Usha, thank you for being here. Why did you leave the house to your younger son?
Mm. ที่ตัดสินใจยกบ้านให้กับลูกชายคนเล็กก็เพราะว่าคนจริงๆแล้วคนเป็นแม่เนี่ยจะรักลูกเท่ากันเหมือนกันแต่ว่าลูกคนโตเขาเอาตัวรอดเขามีบ้านมีที่มีครอบครัวที่อบอุ่นอยู่ลูกสาวเราคนที่สองก็มีงานมีการทำที่ดีส่วนลูกคนเล็กเป็นคนที่ไม่เอาไหนเลยเอาตัวไม่รอดแต่ถ้าเรายกบ้านให้กับคนที่มีแล้วเนี่ยเขาก็สบายไปแต่ลูกคนที่ลำบากจะอยู่ได้ยังไงในเมื่อเราไม่มีเราแล้วเราก็เลยต้องตัดสินใจที่จะยกให้กับคนที่เอาตัวไม่รอดเพื่อที่เขาจะให้ดำรงชีวิตอยู่ได้โดยไม่ลำบากความรักของแม่เป็นอย่างนี้ค่ะ
So Grandma's decision to give the house to her youngest son is that it's entirely circumstantial. As a mother will love all her children equally, but in this movie, you see the oldest son, he already has a family that loves him. He has a really stable job. The middle daughter, she can, support herself and raise her own son. But the youngest son, however, is barely surviving. So as a mother, she cannot bear to see, herself leaving this world while the youngest son still suffers from his own circumstances. So the decision was made, on a completely rational terms, so that when she leaves, her son will still have something to, hold on to and to be able to survive without her.
Well, thank you. Pat, your relationship, not your relationship, the relationship with M and Ama is so detailed. There's so much specificity, the lottery, the tree, et cetera, et cetera. How can you walk us through how did you arrive to that specificity in the relationship?
During the process of writing, it was pretty much about me and writer. We would come together like maybe 5 times a week, 5 days a week. We would sit for like 4 hours a day together, and we would just throw in our life. Like, oh, I have this scene from my life when I used to do this with my grandmother, or I have this relationship with my uncle, or my mom used to say this, and we collect all that. We collect everything from our life, and also from our producer's life. And at the very late of process of the script writing, we also collect it from the actors themselves. So it's all about collecting every moment that really happened from our life, and it's all about arranging them into the movie. We collect it, and we arrange them according to the characters. Our priority is to really understand the characters. And for me, myself, because I'm still relatively young, to be direct the people who is older than me, so I do my best to create them from the people I know from my life. They are like my uncle, they are all like my mother, and even my grandmother. So using that method, I could really imagine the way that they would talk to each other, or the way that they would react to each other. So and then when we meet our actor and actress, I spend a lot of time with them and ask them about each dialogue. For example, there's a scene that Ama and Em were walking back from her brother's house along the railroad track, and Em was so mad about why does she want to be replot so badly, and he thinks that it's so stupid that because if she dies, everything would it would be the end of it. She wouldn't even know who comes to the bureau plot or who did what, or he himself would just use the Google Street and then just raise his hand and things like that. That actually came from the actor himself. That's what he actually believed, that it would be the end of it. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Usha, in the film, we see this big family that gets together a lot. Is that something that in this day and age in Thailand, it's common to have a big family, or is something that is changing?
มันก็เห็นว่าแบบครอบครัวเขามารวมตัวกันบ้างอะไรเงี้ยก็เลยอยากรู้ว่าในปัจจุบันสมัยนี้สิ่งนี้มันเกิดขึ้นบ่อยไหมหรือว่ามันกำลังเปลี่ยนไป
สมัยก่อนจะถึงเวลาอย่างปีใหม่ ตรุษจีนก็จะมารวมตัวกันและสงกรานต์ครอบครัวก็จะมาเจอกันลูกเต้าก็จะอยู่ไม่ไกลกันก็จะมาทำพิธีทำบุญบ้างกินเลี้ยงกันบ้างอยู่ใกล้ชิดกันบ้างแต่สมัยนี้คือเด็กรุ่นใหม่เนี่ยเขาต้องไปเรียนพอเรียนเสร็จบางคนก็ไม่ได้อยู่บ้านก็เรียนจบก็ไปทำงานแต่ไม่ได้ทำคือไม่ได้เข้ามาอยู่บ้านบางคนก็ไปเช่าคอนโดอยู่บางคนก็ไปอยู่ต่างประเทศไปเรียนไกลๆกันแล้วก็คือพอไปแล้วก็ไม่ค่อยได้กลับมาก็เหลือแต่คนแก่ที่อยู่ที่บ้านหนังเรื่องนี้ก็เลยสะท้อนเหมือนกันว่าเมื่อคุณออกไปอยู่ข้างนอกแล้วเนี่ยนานๆครั้งหนึ่งปีละครั้งหรือว่าเดือน2 เดือนครั้งก็ควรจะกลับมาดูคนที่อยู่ที่บ้านที่นั่งรอคุณอยู่เพราะคนแก่เนี่ยอย่างพวกอาม่าเนี่ยนะคะ ก็ไม่มีอะไรมาก คือเราก็มีชีวิตอยู่จนถึงประมาณนี้แล้วก็ไม่วันหนึ่งวันใดเราก็ต้องจากโลกไป แต่เราคิดถึงคือคิดถึงลูกหลาน อยากจะให้เขามาอย่างน้อยๆก็มาหาเราบ้าง แล้วก็ถ้ามีเวลาไม่มีเวลาจริงๆก็เดี๋ยวนี้ก็มีโทรศัพท์มือถือซึ่งมองเห็นหน้ากันก็โทรมาหากันบ้างอย่าปล่อยให้คนแก่ที่อยู่ที่บ้านรออันนี้แหละค่ะเรื่องที่ว่าสมัยนี้กับสมัยก่อนที่ไม่เหมือนกันตรงนี้
So back then, families will gather on like special occasions, for example, on New Year's, whether it's like the Thai New Year, the Chinese New Year, or the Western New Year's. They would gather together for dinner or for, religious ceremonies, etc. But nowadays, she says that the younger generation will have to leave their homes to other cities or perhaps other countries for education and for work opportunities. So they rarely come home. And so the older generation, like the grandparents' generation, are just living their life at home alone by themselves. So she thinks that this movie really talks about the older generation's loneliness, as well as their longing to reconnect with their estranged children and grandchildren. And so she hopes that this movie will encourage the younger people to find ways of reconnecting with their grandparents, whether it's physically or even just ring them up sometimes when they have the time. Yes.
Thank you. And Usha, your role, when I introduced the film, I told them you never acted in a film before. And this role is very demanding. You have emotional scenes. I'm curious how you approach the very emotional scenes in this role.
รับบทหลายอารมณ์ก็ไม่รู้เหมือนกันว่าเล่นได้ยังไงอ่ะก็ตัวเองก็ยังประหลาดใจตัวเองเหมือนกันว่าพอหนังออกมาแล้วเนี่ยทำไมเป็นออกมาได้เป็นอย่างนี้ต้องถามผู้กำกับมั้งคะ
So she says, yeah, she still doesn't know how she was able to portray this character so well. So she said that maybe it's a question to the director.
So Pat, what was it about Usha that, you must have had many options and you chose Usha, who'd never had a leading role in a film. What made you believe that? She has a very demanding moments in the film.
She is very gifted. That's obvious. But for me, her gift is that she could, when you could actually make her believe in the story and makes her understand the characters, and she's knowing that okay, now M is my grandson, and the relationship that she has with him, and when she believes it, she could just be that character. She would just be in that moment with him. She would really enjoy spending time with her grandson as with M as he is her really real grandson. I think that's her gift. And the demanding scene that you saw on the screen, that for example the scene that she's on her bed and she was about to die, she did it in one take. Which is more amazing, it's every every emotional scenes, which usually would be very difficult for many actors and actresses, she could do it in one take. That's like, I don't have any question for her. But when it comes to easy scenes, it could take her up to 20 takes. For example, the scene that I said earlier that they were walking along the railroad track, it took her like 10 or 20 takes just to like keep walking. because she never acted before, and she could be distracted very easily. Like in that day, it was so hot, and she has to wear this knit, like a beanie, and this like sweater. But inside there would be a wireless microphone with the tape and all that stuff, and she felt so hot, and she got distracted. What happened is that because I told that M should walk like further, he was mad, so he like keep walking so fast without waiting for her. And what she has to do is just like walk in her cane at her own speed. But when she got distracted, she tried to catch up with him. She tried to, and it took her so many takes.
So
Yeah.
I could make a cheap joke and say she couldn't walk and act at the same time. But amazing work. Usha, I want to ask you about the pomegranate tree. It's such a beautiful symbol of your love for your grandson. Is that typical in Thai culture to plant the pomegranate tree?
คือต้นทับทิมเนี่ยคนจีนจะถือว่าถ้าปลูกเอาไว้ถ้ามีลูกมีหลานเด็กก็จะแข็งแรงเด็กที่เกิดมาก็จะแข็งแรงแล้วก็เป็นเด็กดีในอนาคตต่อไปก็จะเป็นผู้ใหญ่ที่ดีภายในข้างหน้าก็เลยต้องปลูกต้นทับทิมเอาไว้หน้าบ้านเพื่ออย่างนี้ค่ะ
So the pomegranate tree is actually more of a Thai Chinese or Chinese culture rather than just Thai. So it's the belief that, you know, if you grow a pomegranate tree in front of your house, it will help your child grow into a healthy and successful adult in the future.
Beautiful. Pat, the combination of humor and drama, can you walk us through your approach to it? I mean, you mix really, sad moments. Immediately, there is humor and lightness. Can you tell us about balancing that aspect?
If you look at this story as like a log line, you could see that it's quite a tragic. It's a tragedy because it's about a grandson who wants to take care of his dying grandmother in hope for some money. It's a very sad story, but and personally, I don't like to watch too sad movie. So that's become like my main goal to balance it, and the approach that I found while writing the script is that if you look at through the eyes of the characters, they don't see their life as tragic as we see it. Especially for my own grandmother, she has been through a very harsh period of history. And even the story that she had she came from like much richer house, and she married to some guy that she didn't know, and it was chosen by her parents, was actually from the story of my own grandmother. So so when she get past all that and still continue living until now, she's still alive, by the way. She's 92. She seems to not taking things too seriously, and she's always have this jokes, have this humor with her all the time. So while I write the characters for this movie, I tend to see it from their points of view, just that they are living their life as not expecting much from anything, and and when I direct them, we do not go into each scene hoping that it will come out funny. We will just try our best for every actors and actress to just be in that moment, and they were like really reacting to each other. And somehow, I think the idea of just being there, not forcing yourself to feel something more than you wanted to feel, somehow balancing itself.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction that I got from the audience from the first screening is that they laugh much more than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that it was funny. I think it was cute, but yeah, I think that's just the charm of like when you see those great actor and actress living in the moment, in that moment, you just like feel like observing them,
Mm-hmm.
and you just feel so much joy to see someone's living the life as it should.
Mm-hmm. Which actually I meant to ask you earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. Why, of all the choices that you have of actors, why cast Usha that didn't have experience?
Because in Thailand we don't have this strong. Our industry is not that strong. So if you want to try to cast this generation of actors and actresses, there would be through a period of time in the industry that you have to act a certain way to support the technical aspect of the shooting. For example, you have to look into the camera, like the third camera would blink, and you have to look into the third camera, and then suddenly you have to act as, what's it called, as dramatic more than you actually feel, and that become like the standard of the acting method. So so I didn't have much time to actually like, if they have that method, I wouldn't have much time to like make it or convert it into this kind of acting. So it would be better if we find someone who have no experience.
Okay, that makes sense. And Usha, the film was a huge box office success in Thailand. Are you a big star now in Thailand and being recognized everywhere you go?
ไม่ได้ดังแต่แค่เมืองไทยนะคะหลายประเทศก็ดังค่ะที่ไปนี่ทุกคนก็วิ่งเข้ามาหาอาม่ากันทุกคนก็ตอนนี้รู้สึกว่าคงจะเป็นอาม่าของหลายๆประเทศแล้วค่ะ
So she says she's not only famous in Thailand, but in many countries. So she feels like she has become, the national, international grandmother figure.
Well deserved. And following up what you were telling me about the reaction from the audience, were you aware of all the emotions that your film was going to get from the audience? I mean, at the ending, everybody's crying and very emotional watching your film.
No, I didn't expect that, But what stood out for me and also the crew while we were in the editing process, in the post-production process, is that every time when we finished like first draft and they would watch it from the beginning to the end, to like edit it and make the second draft. Every time we rewatched it, we cried.
Oh.
I mean, the editing, the assistant editor, the sound mixer, the color grader. Every time that we rewatched it, we cried. Up to the point that our producer said, it's too exhausting to cry every time watching your own movie. Sometimes you just want to skip it because you just don't want to cry. Mm-hmm. And personally, I thought, I never make a film that makes me feel this way. And I just love it. And I didn't expect this reaction at all.
Wow, wow. And Usha, I'm going to ask the same question that I asked Kim. What was it like for you to watch the film when it was finished and to watch your performance? And also, your film engenders a lot of emotions from the audience. I would love to hear what you think about that reaction, that people are so emotional watching you and your film.
ตอนแรกที่แสดงนะคะก็แสดงไปตามบทไม่รู้ออกว่าจะออกมายังไงแต่วันที่เปิดรอบปฐมทัศน์วันนั้นพอเข้าไปดูก็ร้องไห้เหมือนทุกคนแล้วก็นึกในใจเราทำไมเล่นได้ขนาดนี้ล่ะก็ไม่นึกเหมือนกันว่าตัวเองเล่นได้ขนาดนี้แล้วพอหลังจากหนังเริ่มฉายในโรงภาพยนตร์เสียงตอบรับมาก็คือไปห้างแทบจะไม่ได้เดินเลยค่ะยืนอยู่กับที่เขามีคนวิ่งมาขอถ่ายรูปแม้กระทั่งจะไปเข้าห้องน้ำพอออกมาจากห้องน้ำก็มาขอดักถ่ายรูปคือกลายเป็นว่าเรานี่เป็นขวัญใจของเป็นอาม่าของทั้งคนโตคนผู้ใหญ่คนเด็กบางคนผู้ชายมาถามว่าทำไมทำให้ผมร้องไห้แล้วเด็กๆหลายคนก็บอกว่าหนูร้องไห้มากเลยเพราะคิดถึงคุณยายคุณย่าที่หนูไม่ได้ไปหาเขาเลยหรือบางคนก็บอกว่าคุณยายหนูเพิ่งเสียแล้วก็มาขอกอดร้องไห้ก็ดีใจค่ะว่าเราทำให้เด็กๆหรือหลายๆคนทุกคนที่ดูหนังของเราเนี่ยมีความรู้สึกเกิดความรักครอบครัวอยากจะไปอยู่ใกล้ชิดกับครอบครัวมากขึ้นเนี่ยค่ะที่ดีใจตอนนี้แหละค่ะ
So when she, first read the script and was on set, she honestly didn't know what to expect, how it would come out. And during the Thailand premiere, when she watched it with everyone for the first time, she actually cried watching the film and just couldn't believe, that she was able to do this. She was able to take this role. So after that, after the movie premiered, whenever she goes to the shopping mall or something, she said she could barely do her shopping because everyone sort of rush in to hug her and to ask for photos. Whenever she goes to the restroom, she, was always like stopped by people on the way. So she feels like she's become a stranger's grandmother overnight, without her knowing. But, during all this, a lot of people shared a lot of their personal memories to her, memories of them and their grandparents. And they always, tell her that, I really miss my grandma, I really miss my grandpa, that they've lost. So she's really glad that she's been able to trigger these really, warm and sentimental feelings for the audience, especially for the younger generation.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for the three of you for being here. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.